Sean Payton, will he retransform Russell Wilson into a gunslinger again? If anybody can do it, it's Sean Payton, but will it happen? What's the impact of Sean Payton on this man right here, Javonte? And we got DeMeco Ryans landing in Houston. Is that great for Dameon Pierce? Michael K. CPA first in the building. Let's discuss this and more, as well as running back potential movement and all that. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got all kinds of impact from coaching movement and all kinds of running back movement to talk about walking into today and go forward. So we're going to break all that down. We're going to have the phone lines open. We're going to be discussing your dynasty and redraft, draft strategies, trades, you name it. That's what we do here. Let's hit the news desk.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
First of all, appreciate all you being here. This is live. We're always live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So ask a question. Your boy Smitty will take care of you. Not to mention, we will be opening the phone lines. So just hang tight. First piece of news we'll talk about here is Sean Payton. Sean Payton acquired by the Denver Broncos. The Saints exchange for a first round and second round picks. Let me show you what pick was actually acquired here. So if we look at the NFL draft board, we have this number 29 overall pick here that went to the New Orleans Saints, which is good for the Saints. I mean, that's a great pick to just get for a coach that wasn't even playing for you anymore. So it's a fantastic move all around for both sides. That pick's important, but it's a late first rounder. It's almost a second round pick. So this is good news. This is amazing for the Denver Broncos to get a coach in that is capable of, they call him the quarterback whisperer, right? So he's capable of transforming Russell Wilson potentially back into at least a shell of his former self, at least, right? So this is good for the wide receivers. This is good for the running game. Sean Payton, this is great for Javonte Williams. If Javonte Williams recovers quickly and we start hearing great positive things, Javonte could be on the bold predictions or the Moon Men list.
The Moon Men dropping loads in outer space.
If we start hearing positive things about his recovery, like we've been hearing about Breece Hall, we may see Javonte pop back be the second returning Moon Man individual. So we'll have to play that by ear. But this is fantastic for Denver. It really is a good spot for Sean Payton because he has a lot of weapons. And as much as we want to make fun of Denver, as much as we want to see Denver's a trash can of a situation and nothing can be revived in Denver, look at what Hackett couldn't do. Look at what Hackett did. Look at what Hackett destroyed and left behind. It is a tremendous amount of talent. And we all thought that walking into 2022. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not act like our hindsight isn't taking control here. And we're like, yeah, Denver looked, bad. We all thought Denver had a shot at winning the division. They all had potential Super Bowl, capability, like an appearance at least. That this is how good this roster looked walking into 2022. Don't act like you didn't think it. We all did. So it's a really good place. It's a really, really good place for Sean Payton to go and try and revitalize a lot of talent. Javonte, Judy, Sutton, Russell Wilson, a defense. There's a lot here to unravel and to reorganize and restructure. But this is a guy often coined as like kind of a short fused or a very forward type of person that's going to tell you what he thinks immediately. Like, he's not going to beat around the bush. He's going to say, we're doing this, stop it, we're doing that. He's not going to let a player walk all over him. He's going to take control of Russell Wilson and try and groom him back. I don't know where I value Russell Wilson. I'm just going to say it right now. I can't imagine a world where I'm starting him in any fantasy league in 2023. Let me just put that out there. But I love the idea of him bouncing back, at least to a degree where some people are contemplating it because he's playing so good, right? That maybe that means Javonte, Judy, and Sutton are exploding, and there's some capability here. So I love the idea of it all. I love what it does for Javonte's upside if Javonte can get back healthy. D'Amico Ryan, same thing with this situation here in Houston. Houston's been a laughingstock of the league for a while. But what people don't know if they aren't close to the situation or follow it is it's not the same individuals that tanked this thing many years ago. This is not the same GM and coaching staff that took this thing into the ground and then sat on the Deshaun Watson situation, didn't get rid of him. This is a new regime, top to bottom, that is making very good moves. Move number one was getting rid of Deshaun Watson when this GM came in and started to finally move things around and say, what pieces do I have? How can I fix this? How can I fix that? And people just kind of tie the Deshaun Watson situation to this current regime. It's not. This is a very impressive regime. They've got Dameon Pierce. Nico Collins has a lot of upside. They've got the number 2 overall pick here in the 2023 NFL draft. They've got the number 12 pick. So they got the number 2 pick. They got the 12 pick. They have 2 amazing picks to add to an already decent core. And D'Amico's a defensive guy. So he's going to bring in the right offensive staff. He's probably going to pull a lot of people from San Francisco, I would imagine, which is going to burn Niner fans. But this guy is what the Texans need. Build, ground and pound, build the defense up. This is great news for Dameon Pierce. Assuming they don't draft an RB, they could. Like, let's say, for example, everyone thinks that Pierce is completely safe. He's not. Let's say at 12, Bijan falls. If you think D'Amico Ryans or any coach is going to not contemplate taking Bijan at 12 if he fell, and I don't think he'll fall past the Eagles at 10. But if this anomaly of a running back that's going to go higher than any running back has in a long, long time, and ever will for a long, long time too, because running backs don't go high. This guy does. This guy will go. This guy will be a top 12 running back. And if D'Amico is able to get him or a big name wide receiver and get Bryce Young or get Stroud, this is going to be a very nice team to build up for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Maybe 2 or 3 years from now. What's up, media? Media's losing D'Amico. He's probably sad today. He's a good coach, bro. He's a good coach. 2 to 3 years from now, this could be a competitive club. Could be a very competitive club. So nothing but goodness from today's 2 coaching movements. Really, honestly, fantasy football wise, we couldn't be happier. We shouldn't sit here and say anything negative about these 2 landing spots for these 2 coaches, D'Amico in Houston and Payton in Denver. Things are on the up for both clubs now that these 2 coaches are in place, and it's going to be a fantastic thing to watch in the offseason. I'm so excited about smoke season. I'm so excited about the offseason. Let's dig into the running back situation. I have, as you guys know, the Brady board, which tracks the quarterback situation. We have the NFL draft board. We have now added the running back movement board for the 2023 fantasy football season. As you can see before your very eyes, the Buffalo Bills will start off in the AFC East. In the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills are a potential landing spot for an RB. As you can see right here, Singletary is a free agent. I know everybody wants James Cook. Most of the entire planet wants James Cook to get a shot, but the Buffalo Bills most certainly are going to address the position. The question is, do they address it early? They tend not to. They tend to not take a big name RB, but just because they tend not to do it doesn't mean they don't sit there and go, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? What do we need to do differently? And what do I always tell you guys? The Buffalo Bills last year were unstoppable when they were balanced. Heading into the playoffs, it was a disappointing outcome, but they were thought of by everybody, even in a loss, to be dominant, just straight dominant. Remember that game, that final game? Unbelievable. This team was so well balanced. They were running Singletary like crazy. Singletary was one of the league's top running backs in a very short period of time, but it was like a 5 or 6 game span. And he had like 8, I forget how many total touchdowns he had off the top of my head. It was like 8 touchdowns in 6 games or something crazy in not this past season, in 2021. And they were balanced. And that's when the Buffalo Bills were absolutely dangerous as can be. And if anybody thinks that, the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen aren't going to have their day, you're out of your mind. If anybody thinks that Patrick Mahomes is just going to rule the next 10 years and there's not going to be some sort of rotation of Mahomes and Burrow and Josh Allen and Hurts over in the NFC, you're out of your mind. These are 4 gunslinging monsters that are going to take the NFL by storm year after year after year, rotating between the 4 of them. And yeah, you'll have some teams jumping in and out. Maybe Thomas Brady heads to the 49ers, and the Niners are in the game for a season or 2 with Tom Brady. Then they mold up and build up their quarterback position. Maybe Aaron Rodgers goes to Las Vegas. Maybe Lamar or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady goes to Miami and they're in the mix. I'm not saying that it's 4 teams. These 4 teams, the Eagles, the Buffalo Bills, the KC Chiefs, and the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not saying there aren't other players in the game. I'm just telling you the Buffalo Bills, circling back, are going to have their day where they rule. It's going to happen no matter how much fandom you throw at this thing and say, no, Smitty, can't you see Josh Allen look so bad? Smitty, there's no way the Bills beat KC. My man Mahomes is going to beat, or Joe Burrow. Even people that love Joe Burrow like me, they're out of their mind if they think Josh Allen's not going to circle back and be an absolute monster. For a handful of years, they're going to rotate. It's championship, someone else might win. Championship, someone else might win. Rotation of the monsters, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen. And my prediction is maybe these Buffalo Bills and this staff, they say to themselves, what do we need? What are we missing? Why can we be stopped? Why are we crumbling in this situation and that situation? It's balance. And who better to bring in than a running back? And as you can see, the Buffalo Bills have a draft slot at 27. They're not getting Bijan at 27. Anybody that comes in here and says running backs fall, we know that. We're not idiots. I've been doing this for 20 plus years professionally. Do you think I don't understand the value and climate of the running back in fantasy football and the NFL? I'm not a moron. Not all the time anyway, and I'm telling you right now that this 27 pick is prime and beautifully positioned for a Jahmyr Gibbs, a Charbonnet, or a Sean Tucker draft selection. If the Buffalo Bills are smart, they will use this 27 overall pick on Jahmyr Gibbs if he's there. They would be absolutely in a position to get back on top and dominate people in 2023 and beyond if they're smart enough to bring in a running back that can pull in 900 and 900, that can be an 800 and 900, and 900 and 800, 12 to 14 total touchdowns, 70 to 80 receptions, maybe by his mid-second season, he'll be on that kind of pace and at that level. If the Buffalo Bills draft Jahmyr Gibbs, it is time to party in Buffalo. There's no other pick. There's no other solution. There's no other move to make unless Gibbs is gone. Then you maybe get bold and you say, give me Sean Tucker. Or you get bold and you say, give me Zach Charbonnet. The Buffalo Bills are in control of their destiny. I'm not saying they get this right, but I'm hoping they do, because you will see whichever moon man out of Charbonnet, Tucker, or Jahmyr Gibbs lands in Buffalo at 27 overall. This team turns around in those situations where they can crumble and collapse. Josh Allen becomes impossible to contain because now you have this running back in Jahmyr Gibbs that can pull in 70 type reception seasons and run for 800, 900 to 1,000 yards on the ground. He's Alvin Kamara 2.0, and you will dominate Buffalo Bills if you make this happen. Do it live. Plain and simple. So, that's where I'm at. Back to the running back board. Buffalo, we're on one team. We've got through one team so far. This show is how far in? Goodness gracious. We're only one team in, and it's 14 minutes into the show. Let me go to the chat real quick and see what you guys are saying here. We got Terry Roberts dropping a $2 holler. Terry says, D'Amico Ryans to Houston. Smitty, love it. Appreciate you, Terry Roberts, for being here. Let's see. I'm looking at any other comments. Fangio for sure. That's what media is hoping for in terms of replacing D'Amico. Smitty, can you recap what happened? What it cost? We already talked about the news at the beginning. JT, scroll back if you want more information on that. But essentially, it was a first round pick, and there was a second round. Let's see here. Let me pull it up on the screen here for you. Here we go. The Broncos acquired Sean Payton from the Saints in exchange for first and second round picks. That pick is the number 28 overall pick right here. NFL draft board, 29 overall pick goes to the New Orleans Saints. Fantastic. Then there's some second round and third round swappage. So that is essentially what it is, the nuts and bolts of it. But back to the running back board, the free agent running back board. You've got yourself the New York Football Jets. They do not need a quarterback. They've got Breece Hall, baby.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Breece Hall, of course he's Smitty approved. The Miami Dolphins, I don't have their pictures on here, but Mostert and Jeff Wilson are free agents. So the Miami Dolphins don't even have an RB. They are actually one of the most talked about, underrated landing spots for a running back. And we're going to have to talk about this in extreme fashion. There's a possibility this guy, Miami Mike, let's say Miami Mike doesn't go after a big name quarterback. Let's say he brings in Derek Carr to compete with Tua. And let's say he's blinded by the Tua love. And let's just say in a world where Mike McDaniel, we need some scary music for this. Where do we, let's see here. We got some kind of music that'll work for this. Some kind of music. Where are we? I know I got some music somewhere.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
In a world where Miami Mike doesn't realize that Tua is one hit away from another concussion, and I'm not making light of this. I'm just saying Miami Mike, there's some people that think, there's some media outlets that say Miami Mike is not drafting a QB. And I'm trying to tell you that's ridiculous. It's fairy tale land. Maybe it's true, though, because we can't always predict what these coaches are thinking. But we got to have some other music for this. Hold on. I think I have another one here. I think we'll use... In a world where Miami Mike thinks Tua is going to be able to survive hit after hit, do you know what he does? He drafts, or he may draft a running back, but he may bring in a big name runner like Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley. If anybody thinks that this guy Miami Mike isn't capable of signing, spending big money, getting aggressive, making moves, and bringing in a guy like Saquon Barkley to command his backfield, you're out of your mind. This guy's crazy. This guy Miami Mike is crazy. He could absolutely do something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I firmly believe it will be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson in Miami, and that might make Miami Mike go rookie, or maybe he goes Kareem Hunt or Jamal Williams or Miles Sanders or Tony Pollard shopping. We don't really know. I don't think he gets a Montgomery. He could get a Montgomery. And here's the thing. These running backs think they're just getting paid bank. They're going to go out there and they're going to get these monster contracts. They're watching quarterbacks land these They're going to be watching quarterbacks land $450 million contracts, which is so unfair to RBs. So unfair to RBs. These guys are going to go out and try and get a $7 million deal. Some of these guys are going to get a $7 to $15 million deal. And that's the thing, is everyone thinks that, Miami can't afford to go trade for Lamar Jackson and sign a free agent. Well, let me tell you something. As you might see the theme here, we have the white circles around all of the potential landing spots. And as you might have been astute enough to see, this is why you went to college, you might see there's a number up here, number 8. Checkmark green, landing spots that are locked and loaded for potential incoming RBs, whether that be through free agency or the NFL draft. 8 spots. Not a lot of spots. Look at all the RBs on screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And these are just the more bigger names. I might even be forgetting something. Let me know if I'm forgetting a bigger name, household name. I don't have Mostert or Wilson on here yet. I couldn't fit them all on, but these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names, 8 landing spots, and probably 6 really good rookie running backs. You're talking about 8 spots for over 18 to 20 RBs. 8 spots. And guess what? The rookies are practically free. So teams, if they say to themselves, well, I like Monty, I like Jamal. He hasn't proven it for more than the 1 year. I like Miles Sanders, but he was kind of inconsistent. Dameon Harris is always hurt. Devin Singletary was never fully trusted by Buffalo. Why should we trust him? Tony Pollard's coming off injury. Josh Jacobs, Barkley and Jacobs are probably the most clear cut to probably get a big contract and land in one of these 8 spots, leaving 6 left. You have 6 spots left, and there's some questionable spots. KC, Baltimore. And when I say questionable, I don't mean questionable situations. I mean questionable to draft an RB. New Orleans, Atlanta. But everybody else, San Francisco, CMC. Seattle, Kenneth Walker. Rams, Akers. They trust him at least right now. Green Bay, they've got Dillon, but they may bring in a low-level rookie. Detroit, they've got Swift, but maybe they still bring in a rookie, but it won't be one of the big top household name rookies. You never know. Detroit loves to run. Maybe they should be a maybe. We might change that one. Minnesota, Madison's gone, but they're still in love with Cook, I'm sure, enough to not go get a big RB. Washington, they've got RBs. They could be maybe a maybe later, but Brian Robinson did very well. The Giants are in big need. They're losing Saquon quite possibly. Maybe they bring Saquon back, but they're still in a position to get an RB. Maybe they get Saquon. The Eagles, my favorite landing spot for an RB, losing this man here. Kenny Gainwell is kind of a sleeper if nobody gets drafted. You know how you have that team every year? You're like, they got to get an RB. Are you out of your mind? And they don't draft anybody. Round after round, they don't draft anybody. They don't sign anybody. Kenneth Gainwell could be a moon man by the end of April. By May 1st, Kenny Gainwell could be a moon man, or he could be a nothing burger. So hang tight on that one. Carolina needs an RB. Giants need an RB. Arizona needs an RB. In my opinion, they could use an RB. They may not address it though. The Chicago Bears losing Montgomery, who's right here. There's his face right there. These are the Vegas losing Jacobs, but could retain him. Maybe Barkley goes to the Raiders. The Bengals, they need somebody. Mixon's not in anymore. I mean, he was great, but these are the landing spots. It's absolutely a blast to go over this stuff. That's why I create the boards for everything that's impactful, because we're gonna have so much to go over. Let's get rid of this music.
Will he be bossed or fired?
Whoops. Sorry. That music was probably driving people crazy. I'm so excited about the offseason. I am so excited. In a world where Smitty's excited about the offseason. In a world where Smitty loves smoke. All over. 8 landing spots for 18 to 20 legitimate running back monsters. Some monsters bigger than others. What a fantastic offseason awaits. Barkley will stay with the Giants, says Marty. It's possible they tag one of Danny Dimes and Barkley. If it were me, I would give Barkley the fat contract and tag Danny Dimes. If it was me, or go after, if it was me, I know Danny Dimes look good, and I'm going to take some heat for this because people are going to go, Danny Dimes looks so great, what are you talking about? I would give Barkley the fat contract, and I would try and bring in a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or you can't really trade for Lamar, you can't really trade for Aaron Rodgers. It'd be really tough to do that and sign Barkley, because Barkley will command probably the most money. But tag Danny Dimes, sign Barkley to a long-term deal. And Barkley may want to stay in New York. It's a huge market. It's a big money-making market, too. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much money an RB is going to make, or a big-name player, a big face of a franchise in New York, just in deals and things like that. Like, his opportunity for that kind of money, it kind of trumps the contract itself. But he could still find a place like Miami. You know, I think he might be tempted to look. It comes down to the contract. If New York brings him a fire deal and they say, look, we're going to offer you something that you're probably not going to even sniff anywhere else, then Barkley won't even go. He won't test free agency. He'll sign. He'll re-sign. And boom. If they tag him, I don't know that they will tag him. I think if they're tagging one, it's Danny Dimes. But if they tag him, so be it. But there's a decent shot, Barkley, decent shot. Not a lock, not even over 50%, but a decent shot. Call it 30%, 40%, that Barkley is playing somewhere else in 2023. Jacobs will most certainly be playing somewhere else in 2023, unless he goes to test free agency and comes back, which is something that definitely could happen. But I mean, he'll go test free agency for sure. Tony Pollard will who knows what happens there. He could get a sense that the market, he's not going to get what he wants, and he might try and work out the best deal he can without even hitting free agency, but we'll see on that. David Montgomery feels like he's as good as gone. Kareem Hunt feels like he's as good as gone. Jamal Williams, I get a little sense that the Lions might want to bring him back, and he would like to maybe stay. He's been bouncing around for a while. I think he feels at home in Detroit. I think he loves Detroit, so I think he'd take a hometown discount or just take a deal without knowing what kind of deal awaits him. He probably doesn't care. He wants to stay in Detroit, but we'll see. Dameon Harris is probably gone, I imagine. But where? Who's going to sign him? Is he going to? Does he? I want to know if Singletary and Dameon Harris, and even Miles Sanders to a degree, he probably thinks he's got this big market waiting for him. You know, like Miles Sanders probably thinks he's going to go get paid big. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. I scored 2 touchdowns last week. I have a feeling I'm going to go get paid bank, and he could. I'm not saying it's impossible. But look at the names on this list. Jacobs, Pollard, Barkley, and then rookies. And really only 8 legitimate, total dire need running back situations, a couple of which could retain a couple of these guys. And then rookies. Rookies will probably supplant all of these vacancies after 2 or 3 of these RBs. Maybe Pollard, maybe Monty, and then Jacobs and Barkley maybe being retained in one of these highlighted spots in New York. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fantastic. Get ready. Smoke season is in full effect. It's time to rock and roll. This is what we came for. This is why you watch the show. We're going to be nonstop free agency, NFL news and rumors, coaching movements, running back movements, wide receiver movements, nonstop until it all shakes out, bro, and the smoke clears and settles in like May and June. And then from May and June, we're mock drafting more. We're talking about fantasy football strategies. Of course, we're doing all of that in between as well. But this is going to be a wild ride, and I can't believe that we're here. This is like Christmas to me. Everybody loves the start of the season. Not me. I love the start of the season, but this is what I wait for. This one moment right here. The I know we still have the Super Bowl to go, but really, smoke season kind of just started. It kind of just started, and it's time to rock and roll. with the smoke. That means your boy Smitty's going to be going live on a ton of occasions. Best show on the planet. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. Your boy Smitty's going live on a ton more occasions randomly whenever news breaks. And we'll be talking about. I waited on these two coaching things because it was kind of close to when the show was going to go live, and I thought, you know what, I'll get a little bit more prepared for everything, get the running back board settled rather than go live twice. I thought I'd go live and just hit a home run with this show rather than do two little quick shows back to back. So, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. Smoke season in the house. Smoke season in the house. Okay. Madison has been waiting for a shot. Bad year to be a free agent. Yeah, Richie Rich, Madison's not even, he wasn't even relevant enough as a free agent running back to put on his face on this board. It's possible he finds like a crazy cool fit. But yeah, he's not even a guy. I'll have a full list like right here. I'll put a full list of the RBs and we'll, you know, especially the ones that we don't have up here. I'll figure out a way to encompass all of the names so that we don't have people asking, well, what about so-and-so? It's like, yeah, he's on the list, bro. He's down here on the list, you know, instead of thinking I forgot him. This is crazy. This is crazy. Open the phone lines, baby.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Hit me with your best shot. Your boy Smitty's here to answer your questions. So roll on in and we'll discuss. Let me go ahead and fix this all up. So we got the biggest super chatter of the year. Whenever we're doing the phone call segments and the phone numbers on the screen, I plan to have these two awards, if you will, up on screen. If anybody missed this Moon Man number 10, watch that video. It's up. But the biggest super chat of 2023 is Bob so far with $99. The biggest super chat all time is Ron with $765 in one show. $20 super chats will get you a total team breakdown if anybody drops one. I do think we have a super chat that has been waiting. I'm sorry, I just remembered I saw it. We got TMT with $20 holler. I'm so sorry, TMT. $20 holler for TMT. TMT, I apologize. I hope you're still here. What can I do for you, TMT? Let's read his question on screen here, and let's get a little assist from Ziggy and the crew, and see if they will read this one for us. Hey, Ziggy and your assistant, would you please read the question?
Super chat $20 from TMT. Hey Smitty, with Payton out of the race as a coach, who would you say the Cowboys pick up for the OC job?
Hold on. Ziggy, shut up!
To replace McCarthy. Hit that thumbs up on your way in.
I got it.
Only 29.
I got to read this again. Hey, Terry, hold on one second. Appreciate you calling, but hold on one second. All right.
Yeah.
The Zigmeister interrupted. Just set it to
Super
talk.
chat $20 from TMT. Hey Smitty, with Payton out of the race as a coach, who would you say the Cowboys pick up for the OC job? I wanted Payton to replace McCarthy. Hit that thumbs up on your way in. Only 29.
Appreciate you for dropping that super chat, TMT. I don't know who the OC is going to be. I wish I could give a good guess, but I don't really know. I know McCarthy wants to call plays now, so I don't know how much pull or upside the OC even has at this point. I mean, you know, what's going to happen there? So I don't know. That's why we aren't hearing a whole lot of buzz about it. It's because a lot of the power of that offensive coordinator job seems to be ready to be ripped away from it anyway. So who's going to want to go there? You know what I mean? What kind of amazing offensive coordinator are you going to lure in? You're like, I'm going to take over all the offensive coordinator duties, and I'm going to call the plays. So now let's see who wants the job. Let's hold interviews. You know, like how are we going to, what good OC is going to go there? Terry Roberts in the house. Terry, what can I do for you, kind sir?
What's up, Smitty? First of all, I love these coaching moves. The NFL's totally changing. I'm excited about this. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Let's go. Smitty.
First of all, Sean Payton going to Denver, and nobody's talking about it. Don't forget about Mr. Williams over there. when he gets back from his injury, he's going to be a monster. And with Sean Payton behind him, oh, yeah, it's on.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Javonte Williams, we start getting good news like we're getting about Breece Hall. It's still possible. It's not like Javonte Williams is like out of the picture of becoming a fast recovering ACL candidate, But like we don't hear anything yet.
Yeah.
But I love this move for Sean Payton. What Sean Payton's done with quarterbacks, running backs, and offenses is exciting. Like there could have been a better, like if I would have came to you guys, when we're going through the Hackett situation, and I would have came to you guys and said, hey guys, I know Hackett's the head coach right now. I know we're up in arms, but next offseason, hopefully, if I would have told you towards ACL, you'd have been really pissed. But I would have said next offseason, Javonte Williams will have Sean Payton as his head coach. You would have been like, no, you're out of your mind.
Yep.
So that's great. That's a great thing.
Javonte Williams will be a sleeper, I guarantee it, because everybody's going to be scared of the injury. So I'm all for it.
Attaboy, Terry.
The lower he goes in drafts, he's very explosive.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too. Is like he's going to – there's always a flip side to doubt about a player. So, like, if Javonte's – like, look at Breece Hall. Breece Hall, fast recovery. He's ahead of schedule. The next thing I predict to be said is that Breece Hall – looks like he never even tore his ACL, and then what happens? He's a first-round pick. So Javonte,
first-round pick, yeah,
if Javonte kind of flies in under the radar because we're a little worried, but we are not extremely worried, meaning that like he's not ahead of schedule as much as Breece Hall is, but we're pretty confident he'll be okay, this season and not have a J.K. Dobbins or Saquon Barkley first year back from ACL type of situation. Then maybe he flies in under the radar to the point where we actually enjoy the value so much that we're kind of glad it's a blessing in disguise the way it's all shaping out. So we'll have to play it by ear. I haven't put Javonte on the Moonman list because we don't know his health, and that's going to be the determining factor. But now the situation is no longer a red flag, so that's good.
Yeah. But D'Amico Ryan's coming to Houston. I'm from Houston. If nobody knew that, so bring it on. We've been laughing stock for the past 10 years. Bring it.
Bring it, says Terry. Terry, I appreciate you, buddy boy.
Yeah.
Anything else, Terry?
Yeah. I'm all good right now.
All right.
Get those likes up. We're running a little low right now. So,
we're running low. Terry's on patrol. Terry's on patrol, and he says that the likes are a little low. 51. We got 114 in here and only 51 thumbs up. I agree with Terry. Hit that thumb up button for Terry. Terry, I appreciate you. Call back if you have another question.
All right.
Later. Next up is Cali Loco. Cali Loco, what can I do for you? You are live. Good, kind sir.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up, pal?
Sorry I missed the beginning. I'm not sure if you got the Washington duo running backs up there. What's going on with that? And also, Washington, they might, they're trying to flush out that owner with a new owner. I think the coach and the quarterback is also on the board. Maybe that's another spot for the quarterbacks to go. They might clear the board over there. What do you think?
For Washington, Washington's definitely a potential, an interesting situation for across the board. Like we don't know what's going to be going on there at QB, RB. I would think that Robinson's going to be the guy, but we don't know. We don't know. They could do 100 different things. I think to assume that there are some teams, like when we look at this board here, there are some teams here on this running back board that could go in a different direction. I could see flipping the red X into a emoji or a green check mark. I think Washington, right now I have them in the NFC East here with the red X in terms of running back need, but you never know. But quarterback, the problem is, bro, who are you going to lure in? Who wants, no offense, but who wants to play quarterback there right now? I don't know. Maybe Derek Carr ends up going to Washington, which would be good, but I don't know anybody. I also like this Howell kid, bro. I think he's a little bit of a underrated quarterback option.
Yeah, I like Bijan. I hope they give him the shot. You know, Gibson, I felt like they never really used him the right way, to find a quarterback that throws him the ball. The guy played receiver, and they never throw him the ball. I just never understood that. And for quarterback, I mean, they got some good receivers. I thought that rookie they had this year started doing good. He got hurt. You know, he could be another sophomore guy, not like the other ones, but, I mean, he could be a good deep threat. And if somebody could, unlock McLaurin, it depends on the coach. I think if they get a good coach, you might get a good quarterback to come in, one of the second tier of guys.
Yeah, you say
Bijan
a shot. I don't think he falls to 16. You never know. But you guys have a late first round or a mid first round pick, and Bijan's probably, unless his 40 time is like 8 seconds, he's probably going top 12, top 10. But I would say Houston would be crazy to pass on him, especially D'Amico looking at an RB like that with a young quarterback and being able to build around both offensive pieces. He's a defensive guy, but the Jets kind of did that. They brought in Salah, and everyone's like, oh, he's going to draft defense. They didn't. They drafted a lot of offense because he knew he could build the defense up his way. And so, I don't know. We'll see. Washington, I don't think Bijan falls there. You could get a Jahmyr Gibbs, someone like that, but with Brian Robinson playing as well as I think he did, it's kind of like, I don't know. I would be very tempted to take like a Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm crazy, bro. I'm crazy offensive minded. But I don't think the Washington football team will be taking an RB. I just don't see it. But
yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Smitty.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're a big Washington fan, or are you just kind of?
No, I just was thinking that's another spot where the coaching carousel. I just, when you get a new owner, they might, Ron. Nothing against Ron. Not that he did a bad job or anything. But usually they want to have their people, their which is understandable. Yeah. So I just see a change coming. And, who knows if you got new owners with a lot of money and you're paying a coach with good money, they might have a quarterback.
All right, man.
Just wondering. My question was more on the quarterback, but if they split the running backs off, I think they might trade a running back away. I think they're more of a dealer on a running back, maybe Gibson.
Maybe, but look, if
the new coaching staff or what happens.
I get what you're saying there. Like maybe Miami Dolphins, Miami might could trade for a Gibson. I could see like something like that. He's crazy, and I like it. I like crazy in a good way. But look at the running back spots, bro. Who's gonna trade for Gibson? There's rookies. There's 8 hardcore landing spots, 4 in each conference. The Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Las Vegas Raiders, in the NFC, the Carolina Panthers, maybe the Cardinals, and the Cardinals may not even, we don't know. Chicago, the Giants, Philly. And you got to think that at least 3 of those spots out of the 8 are going to get consumed by Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and one other of these players on screen. The rest of them, the rookie pool is so deep. I just don't see a team trading for an injury-prone Gibson or for Brian Robinson. I just don't see it. I don't see a market for it. I don't think running backs get traded like that anymore. And Bijan Robinson special. If you want him, bro, if you want Washington to get him at least, they need to trade up. And if they traded up, they could land him. But that's it. There's no way, in my opinion, Gibson's going to be traded. Unless it's like dirt cheap and it's a ridiculously dumb trade and a team acquires him for like a super late pick or something, then of course I could see that happening. Like Miami Mike does stuff like that. He could bring in like 4 RBs. He's losing Mostert and Jeff Wilson. May bring him back, who knows? But they're free agents, and Miami Mike will definitely be in the mix for an RB. But the Dolphins draft pick is forfeited there at that 21 spot, which means that technically speaking, the Chargers picked at 21, even though you could almost like void the 21 spot and continue on with the draft. This is how the NFL is going to be reporting on it, that the 21st pick isn't voided, or it's voided, but it's no longer on the board, the Chargers of the 21st pick. So the Miami Dolphins have 0 shot at drafting a Bijan, probably a very little shot at drafting Jahmyr Gibbs, but man, who knows? They could get Sean Tucker, they could get Charbonnet, they could get a Bigsby, they could get all kinds of. It's a deep running back class.
And last question, what do you think of that Dallas OC? I might have missed the beginning of the show. Do you think that helped the Chargers? Does that save that guy's job? Or you think it's not going to make a difference?
I like it. I mean, there's some pros and cons, man. I mean, did he really have great success? Was he? You ask Cowboy fans, they're kind of split. They kind of think we're going to regret this, letting Moore go, or what? Like they even had a choice. Or you see people, it's very divided. A lot of Cowboy fans will say, "Oh, he was part of the problem." You know, like this is, you know, not that having McCarthy call plays is better. Like you'll see people say that the OC was the problem, but McCarthy's not any better, so we're screwed. Or you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is in a little bit of trouble because I feel like we saw Dallas's best self this season. You know, I'm not saying that's bad. Like they're a top 8 team. That's something to be proud of. But at the same time, nobody wants to end there. Everybody wants the Super Bowl, right? And I just don't know that Dallas is going to get any better. And especially, I mean, you never know. You never know. I think Dak's going to have a lot of pressure on him. I feel like Dak is a top 10 to 14, top 10 to 15 quarterback. But like to lock him into my top 10, or we'll call him 11 to 15, to lock him into my top 10, I don't know. He's borderline 10. He's like Kyler. It's hard to upgrade him because you just can't find a quarterback just sitting on the street, bro, or they don't grow on trees. So like what are you gonna do if you're the Cardinals and you got Kyler? I would trade him, but he might not even be ready. He might even play this season. Kyler may not even play this entire season in 2023. We have no clue. He's certainly not going to be ready for week 1. But Kyler and Dak, if I'm running a squad, if I'm running a club, I don't feel like I'm winning a Super Bowl with either one of those quarterbacks. But that's me. I'm sorry if there's some Cowboy fans out there, but Dak is at his top level of play right now, unfortunately. But it's good enough for CeeDee Lamb production, you know, so I'm not like all that bent out of shape about it. All right, pal. Appreciate you.
Can't beat the gold defense. Thank you.
Yeah, call back if you have another one. I'll be here later. Mike, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show, Mikey boy.
How you doing, Smitty?
What's up?
Tying exactly into the past caller, talking about the Cowboys OC potential change. I'm looking at 2023 first, second round. How do you think this impacts CeeDee Lamb? Because I kind of don't. I don't know if I'm comfortable spending that type of capital like on him in next year's draft with the uncertainty of what's going to occur. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think what I just ended with, my last statement was like, I'm not all that concerned about CeeDee Lamb. Dak's good enough for CeeDee Lamb. McCarthy's good enough for CeeDee Lamb. I think where it comes in is, can they win big games, bro? Like, can they throw? Yeah. Dallas has been atop of the league for one of the most biggest, like, heavy-duty offensive, you know, stat lines. You know, they're constantly just turning out fantasy yards and big stats. They're always going to be a top 10 offense in the NFL. You know, while those pieces are there. Could it eventually fall apart? Sure. But I mean, Danger will tell you. Danger says he agrees from a Cowboys fan perspective here. And Danger will probably say, though, that he does believe the offense will be a top 10 offense in terms of yardage and production. Just doesn't mean they just can't close out games. They can't win big games. They can't win playoff games. They're kind of just paper tigers, you know, at the end of the day, unfortunately, in the playoffs. But they can ball out. They can score big. Dak can look like Superman one game, like he did the game prior to the playoff loss. That everybody was coining him as some magician, and one game later, this is kind of fickle. Even fickle, I'll even admit myself being a little fickle. One game later, we're all tearing him down. One game later, against one of the best defenses in the entire National Football League, the 49ers. One game later, we're tearing Dak down to a little nub. And is it fair? Not really. Not really. Dak did really good the game prior. Dak can have big games. Dak's good enough. You can't replace Dak. Dallas could not, for the life of them, go out and replace Dak Prescott. Just like the Cardinals, if Kyler's healthy, how are we going to go get a better quarterback? They're just not sitting around. And so it's unfortunate to admit, inward look yourself in the mirror and say, can we win a Super Bowl? Probably not. Can the Cardinals win a Super Bowl right now? Probably not. Could we change that if we draft Bijan Robinson at number 3? Maybe we start reshaping this team. D'Amico Ryans and Bijan were my wish. D'Amico Ryans is now off the table. So I would have loved to have had both of those components at play, because I think that you could build a championship around that. But now that D'Amico's off the board, who knows who the Cardinals... Now Sean Payton's off the board. Who knows who the Cardinals head coach is going to be? Who knows if we botch this number 3 pick? We might even trade down and not even take advantage of it. And honestly, bro, if it was me... And I don't know that Kyler has this kind of trade value. You know, I'm living in la land for a moment here, okay? As a Cardinal fan perspective, which I'm very unbiased with my takes. I don't let the Cardinal fandom at all 0% influence what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, what I'm drafting, what I'm predicting. But if I put my Cardinal fan hat on for a second, I would say, or if I just put on my analyst hat, I say, you put me in as the GM right now, this is what I do. If I could get away with it, I would try and get the Bears' number 1 overall pick somehow using Kyler. And I know I can't trade Kyler to the Bears, but I'm doing my best to get draft capital for Kyler because I want to go get that Bears pick. I don't think the Texans are surrendering the 2 pick. So Stroud and Bryce Young are locked into these 2 spots here. The Bears are vulnerable, but what do they want? I'd have to make multiple moves to try and get capital to come back and give the Bears, or I have to trade down. So the Bears trade down to the 3, the Cardinals trade up to the 1. I don't know what we'd have to give up future draft capital, but let's say that I did that. Then I come back into the top 10 using Kyler and a future first rounder, whatever I've got to, in order to get Bijan. I would come out trading Kyler away, getting Bryce Young, because I think Stroud probably goes. I would try to get that 1 pick. I'd take Bryce Young. I would come back into the top 10 using Kyler, because I would trade the Bears pick and Cardinal pick, swap them. That's the only way to get that 1 pick when you look at it. Like, there's no way you're going to get draft capital, come back, get the Bears 1 pick. They'll move down. The Bears want to move down. The Bears don't want the 1 pick. The 1 pick is reserved for a quarterback. They know that. The pay structure, everything screams, this is a QB. This is a QB. They're even throwing smoke out there. We might draft a QB and trade Justin Fields. Cap. That's not true. That's not true. We know that's smoke season, but we accept it. Smoke season's fun. The Bears, Cardinals swap picks, whatever we got to do it. Trade back into the bottom of this first round using Kyler and future draft capital. That's how the Cardinals turn it around. That's fairy tale world for me, because the Cardinals aren't going to do it.
Well, I agree, because the Cardinals that would be a really smart thing to do. I agree with you. But, man, they have made so many – they've been such like a – like, I think it all started going down, obviously, with Carson Palmer age, the Josh Rosen pick, and they've just been in turmoil basically since then. And I do agree. They need to make a bold move to, like, redirect their whole morale. That's totally on point.
Yeah, Cardinals are not it, man, right now. I admit it. It sucks, but we're 2 or 3 aggressive moves away from getting on our way. It's just a matter of, will this new GM, Monty Boy, the new GM, will he be able to get the right head coach in place? Will he be able to make the right moves himself? Will the Cardinals botch this number 3 overall pick? Will they trade it down to like the 18 and draft some kind of ridiculous reach of a defensive player? You know, to where I'm like, what are we doing? We could have got him in the 2nd round. We traded the number 3 overall pick down for an additional 2nd round pick. And then now we draft late in the 1st round and get some reach of a player. Like, that's what the Cardinals do. There's zero excuse for not using the number 3 pick on JSN or Bijan or one of the top 2 quarterbacks, like to trade it down is ridiculously dumb. And unless you're taking Bijan, like trade it down to 8 or 9 and you take Bijan, then it makes sense. Or if you traded it down and you got JSN still or something, but you'd have to do a small, little, tiny move down. The Cardinals don't do that. Bears are trading too.
Yeah, well, there are people on Twitter saying that the next year's quarterback class is very top heavy. They got the kid from UNC and Caleb Williams, so there's teams already looking ahead to to that. But
yeah, bro,
I don't know. Smitty, one last question. If you were just tied back into the Cowboys talk, I'm not a Cowboys fan. If you were the GM in the first round, because I think they need a secondary wide receiver. Who would you prefer to go there of the people on the board?
Dallas at 26?
Yes.
I don't. It's gonna be tough I'd have to know who's available. It's kind of tough to speculate on that.
If you could have your dream, a realistic, you don't think Addison makes it there?
I don't think. I don't think so. I would personally. I would take, because you're losing Pollard, I would take one of the RBs. I would take the Charbonnet, the Jahmyr Gibbs, type of player there. The JSN won't fall, but move up for him. Those are all.
So you think Gibbs? Okay.
I mean, I would go big offensive piece because, I mean, you got a salary cap increase, so trying to retain players and keep the defense together is obviously a number one priority. But the defense is fire. The offense was lacking a weapon. I think with Pollard potentially gone and Zeke Elliott owed a bunch of money, and probably going to be a little bit lesser every single day that he is on that squad. You need the RB replaced. Charbonnet would be a monster. Jerry Jones loves all weapons. It's very, very likely they do go offense, and I would try and trade up to get one of those big guns or take Jahmyr Gibbs at 26, and he could be there. Buffalo needs to take him at 27. If Dallas doesn't take Jahmyr Gibbs at 26, Buffalo better grab him at 27.
I like that. I like that thought to me. But thank you, man. I just wanted to ask you that.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Call anytime, Mike. Later.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, and if you look at this board here, Jahmyr Gibbs isn't going to the Texans at 12. He arguably deserves it, but he's not gonna. Jets at 13 don't need him. New England, they got Ramondre. Green Bay's got Dillon. Too early for a gamble. That doesn't mean they won't go RB, but just not in the first round. Not when you have weapons. Washington, they've got Brian Robinson. They're not going to waste a number 16 pick on an RB. Pittsburgh, they got Najee. Detroit, they could go RB, but I don't know that they do. They still, they not that high. They will take one. They'll address it. Could they take a Sean Tucker later and ruin his value? Because then you got Swift and Sean Tucker. Sure. Tampa Bay, I don't think they take an RB at 19. Seattle, they're not taking an RB at 20. Why would they? And I hope to God they don't even take an RB at all. Chargers, they could take an RB, but I don't think at 21. Baltimore, it's possible, but not totally likely. Minnesota, no. Jacksonville, no. New York Giants are the top threat for where you might see a Jahmyr Gibbs or the second RB go, because the first RB, Bijan's going top 10, top 12. So really, it's 25, 26, 27, maybe even 28. Those 4 picks in a row is where Jahmyr Gibbs' season might kick off right there. And the Giants would be, if they don't have Barkley, franchise tagged or re-signed, the Giants would be a phenomenal landing spot at 25. Dallas at 26 for Jahmyr Gibbs. Buffalo, Jahmyr Gibbs at 27 would be phenomenal. KC, Jahmyr Gibbs at 28. On its face looks good, but we'd worry about usage because we always think that's a great landing spot, right? But we just don't know. They spread it around so much. They use so many running backs now. I wish Andy Reid would get back to making one running back a top 5 running back in fantasy football, but it seems like he shifted everything over to Mahomes' situation, spread out attack. I just don't know. Tough to say. Brady going to San Francisco, says Moonman Rick. I feel like I've been saying this for a while now. Moonman, were you on board with this the whole time, or were you skeptical of this at first. I'm not sure. But when we look at the Brady board, San Francisco, Aaron Rodgers is a second option. Spare no expense, right? Get a QB in there, win now, groom the two quarterbacks. You don't even have to get rid of Trey and Brock. Like, you bring in Brady, I know everybody's going to assume they will 100% trade one of the quarterbacks. They might not. They might groom both of them under Tom Brady for one season. Aaron Rodgers with the New York Football Jets, Lamar in Miami, Brady in Miami, A-Rod. Can't wait for this to unfold. That is the most exciting part, I think, about everything is the quarterback movement, the running back movement. I don't think Dallas takes a running back, says Kyle. It's possible they don't, bro, but they're definitely an option. Has to be Brady. There's nobody else. Well, Moonman Rick, when I go live with Raji Boy and all the people in the quad box, they tend to giggle at my Brady talking prediction. You know, it seems like the fan base thinks I'm crazy by even talking Brady, especially right after the game. Everyone's like, yeah, Brock Purdy proved it. And now that there's more injury concern with Brock Purdy's potential Tommy John surgery, which has never really occurred with a quarterback before in the NFL. No quarterback has ever really encountered a true Tommy John surgery. So it's something that's uncharted territory for a quarterback. It's usually a baseball injury. Any quarterback that's had what people believe to have been a Tommy John surgery, they didn't. They had some sort of alternative surgery. Even Big Ben's situation was different. People like to couple those two situations together. They're not. Purdy would be really the first quarterback if he does have a full reconstruction of the Tommy John's, using the Tommy John surgery of the UCL. And there's so many different ways to do it. Like, the UCL is just, it goes through the entire arm, and it looks like a wire. And so they essentially, there's a procedure where they like take it would be essentially removed, and they do this sort of like very short bridge type of replacement right here. And it's like, you expect a guy to go out there and he hasn't even started his career with a reconstructed elbow that has some sort of crazy bridge technique that takes out the UCL essentially. Like, there's so many weird options that he's going to be looking at, and to bank on that, no way. Absolutely no way. Tom Brady is going to be a San Francisco 49er, in my opinion, and for a couple reasons. One, he's wanted it since he was a little kid. Number two, there's no draft capital involved anymore. He gets to go where he wants. Number three, the Niners are making different moves than they were earlier. What's that tell you? That tells me, in my opinion, and we'll put Brady up here as the topic at hand. In my opinion, it feels like John Lynch is in control of the bigger situations now. I believe this guy who has ties, John Lynch, to the McCaffrey family, deep-rooted ties, is a big reason why that McCaffrey deal happened. I don't think that Shanahan had as heavy of a hand in that situation. I'm sure he was okay with it end of day. But this was a John Lynch move. And I firmly believe that John Lynch is going to force this situation to happen, whether Kyle Shanahan wants it or not. Kyle Shanahan hired John Lynch. John Lynch allowed Kyle Shanahan to make a lot of big decisions, but lately it's felt like John Lynch has been making more of them. And I think John Lynch forces a Brady situation to happen. There's no draft capital involved. It's literally a zero risk proposition with the salary cap going up and Brady being as friendly of a player to sign. He's going to sign the most friendly deal he can. Not that he's going to play for small chump change, but he will structure it however they need to, restructure it again after this season, do whatever he's got to do. If they sign him to, let's say, just a one-year deal, they'll make it work. They'll push the numbers around. It's math. It's accounting. It's not a problem. You can sign anybody, essentially. The salary cap's fake. It's not even real. essentially. You could say Aaron Rodgers signed his big monster contract. They were still under the cap when they announced that. Like, it's not real. You can move the numbers around all over the place. And so Brady to San Francisco is a zero risk proposition. It not only props up your two quarterbacks, your young quarterbacks you want to learn and absorb from Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, if he fails you, you still have the same two quarterbacks on your roster. Roll them out. Roll them out. Zero risk proposition. Zero risk proposition. Tim, I didn't say he's playing for peanuts or pennies. That's not what I said at all. He's going to be friendly with the structuring of the deal. However, it needs to be stacked, front-loaded, bonuses versus salary. Whatever they've got to do, he'll structure it in a way that's going to be super, super team-friendly. Brady to the Raiders is also an option if, let's say, Shanahan does have a say and Shanahan's ego gets in the way and he doesn't want Tom Brady to be a Niner. He's a Niner. He's a Niner. Why would anybody not want to go down this road? If there's a Niner fan in here, a hardcore Niner fan in here, please call in and tell me why you would want to not go down this road. I would love, not in a combative way. I just love to hear both sides. I would love to hear your side and tell you my side and give the viewers both angles. But if anybody thinks that Tom Brady would not be an amazing fit for San Francisco, even if you think he's potentially falling off, he's surrounded by weapons. He's surrounded by, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be a phenomenal situation for him to roll into the sunset with a championship with another team, and his boyhood dream would be complete. He wants to be a Niner. He's going to be very, very persuading about this too. The fact that signing bonuses don't count toward the cap is further evidence of that. He's going to be friendly. It's going to be team friendly. No-brainer deal for San Francisco, says TM. I agree with TM 100%. Brady is from the Bay Area, says Danger. Brady to Miami, if anything, that could work too. I really would love to see a lot of these things happen, honestly. Brady to Miami, Brady to the Raiders, Brady to, obviously, the Niners. Brady to the Jets even would be a very interesting proposition. And that would be a nice market, but I think he ultimately might step away before he takes anything, that he doesn't really want to. Like, if he's not super amped about going to New York, he's not going to just go where he has to go. Like, he would step away if it wasn't the right fit. Niners, there's 0% he steps away if the Niners offer him a deal. Why would he do that? It's what he's wanted. He's finally at the point where he's not being controlled, like, hey, you're under contract. We've got to set up a trade in order to make this happen. He can do what he wants. He can go where he wants. He finally is sitting here free to go left, to go right, to go whichever direction he wants to go. And you're telling me if the Niners offer him a deal, he wouldn't take it? He'd take it in a millisecond. We should have sniped Brady instead of the Bucs years ago. Yeah, and that was on Shanahan. Another Shanahan, amazing move by Shanahan. Fantastic job by Shanahan, which is why John's going to say, I don't care what you want, Kyle. Coach the team, I get you. Here you go. CMC, look what happened. Here you go. Tom Brady, CMC, Debo, Kittle, you out of your mind? You out of your mind? That's an unbelievable squad that walks into an NFL Super Bowl. Congratulations. I just want to give an early congratulations to the Niner fans who make a 2023 Super Bowl appearance. Finally, you did it. You did it. This is an early speech. Dear Niner fans, open this email up, this video email message, this telegram that I'm sending you from the past. Congratulations on making a Super Bowl appearance in 2023 because you got Tom Brady finally. Congratulations, 49ers. Here's your early congrats. It's the move to make. The weapons, Brady, he still has it. Maybe he's a little bit lesser skill-wise than back in the day. But does anybody watch the film? Does it look like he can't throw 50 yards down the field still? Like, watch the video footage. It was the whole Buccaneers situation as a whole. It wasn't just Tom Brady. It was falling apart, collapsing. It was collapsing. Tom Brady, there's a reason that that Gronk didn't even want to come back. And does anybody understand that if Tom Brady goes to the Niners, Gronk's probably coming back and playing? Gronk's always talking about how he's tempted, if the right deal came along, the right situation, he'd go back. He's very, very candid about it. Does anybody understand that Tom Brady brings in anybody that he wants? Does anybody understand that the Niners offense gets a little bit better, not just because of Tom Brady, but because who Tom Brady can bring in? But if you put Gronk in this offense with Kittle and Debo and Ayuk, and give me a break. Give me a break with this. Tom Brady's too old to get it done. Unbelievable. Has anybody seen Donald Trump drink a water live on TV? He goes like this. Let me give you an impersonation. I am going to drink a sip of water. He goes like this. It's the best. It's the most entertaining thing I've ever seen. He goes like this. It's unreal. It's unreal. Every time I take a drink and I see myself drinking on camera, I always want to do it like Donald. He just goes like this. Big sips, big energy. Little sips, big hands. Gronk and Kittle, imagine it, bro. And you know what people are gonna say? This is what kind of irks me. This is what kind of irks me about people, about individuals, human beings on this planet Earth. The griping and complaining and Monday morning quarterbacking and yelling and screaming and making fun of the situation. Oh, Tom Brady's washed. Thanks, Bob, for giving us that receipt. Tom Brady, there's no way that this should happen. Oh, there's that receipt. He's too old to do this. He's too old to do that. And when Tom Brady comes over and Gronk comes over with him, and you win a Super Bowl as a Niner fan, what are people going to say? Oh, it's unfair. They bought their championship. What they kind of did in a sense. They got McCaffrey, they got Brady, but everybody else had the same opportunity and they made fun of the decisions. Do you know how many teams just sat on their hands when McCaffrey was had for pennies on the dollar? McCaffrey could have been had. I would have given up if I was a team in contention like the Buffalo Bills, or I would have given up a future first rounder to get McCaffrey's services for the 2 years. The cost of McCaffrey's his draft capital and trade was ridiculous. And teams sat on their hands and did nothing. And Tom Brady, some teams are gonna sit on their hands. Fans are gonna make fun of it. Then everybody's gonna complain about it later and forget that they were against it from the beginning. Brady to Fox, no, not yet. He's going to the booth, but he wants to be a Niner more than you even know, bro. It's all he's ever wanted. The booth can wait. I'd rather see Brady, Adams, Waller, Renfro, and Jacobs. Tim says. I'm not saying I wouldn't love that. That's a phenomenal situation too. But I'd love to see Brady in Miami. I'd love to see A-Rod in Miami. I'd love to see what flavor of Prime this is. This is the Ice Pop, which is pretty good. I like the Ice Pop. I like this one better. These are 20 calories, bro. Metamoon's pretty good. But I drink about 4 or 5 of these a day instead of drinking like 4 or 5 Cokes. And it's like 100 calories. My whole drink intake for a guy that does all the videos I do. And I need to stay hydrated, baby. And I know this isn't really that much of a hydration drink, even though they coin it as a hydration drink. I feel pretty hydrated when I drink it, though. I don't feel like I'm starving from hydration. But I mean, for somebody that needs to sip on something that tastes good all day, 100 calories for my entire drink intake is a pretty darn good proposition for me. Donald Trump, the way he drinks is just... You should patent it. Takes the cap off and goes. How many sugars? How many sugars, bro? Listen to this. 2 grams. 2 grams of sugar. 20 calories. It's unbelievable. I'm sure there's sweeteners and things in it, but it's pretty darn good. I believe it when I see it with Brady as far as retirement. Yeah, exactly. Metamoon, attaboy. TM says Prime is worth the buy. I really like Prime. I'd love for them to be a sponsor. Hey, Logan Paul and KSI. I would love to be a sponsor. Hit me up. I'll promote this stuff. I'll put a box of it behind me. Just stacked to the rafters. How much sugar? How many sugars? It's 2 grams of sugar, bro. It's nothing. 2 grams of sugar, 20 calories. It's really, really... And it tastes like it has 500 grams of sugar. That's crazy. Prime needs to sponsor the fantasy football show. Hit him up, Logan Paul. Thank you. Tell him. Let him know. Tag him. I believe it when I see it. What else was there? All right, dial in. A couple more phone calls.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in to thy show. Gatorade Zero. I'm not a huge fan of Gatorade Zero. Not a huge fan. I like Prime, baby. We'll probably be live tonight. I go live pretty much every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at midnight. Oh, that's the wrong button. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at midnight. That is tonight. So I will be live Tuesday night, tonight, probably at midnight. 7 p.m. Eastern, live whenever news breaks. Let's go. Ron Navy, you're live.
Hey, Smitty. What's going on?
Not much, broski. What'd you think about today's signings? What?
Not everybody. I'm not one of the people that were on with Denver, but I think Payton is going to be so much of an improvement over what we had in Hackett last year.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said, and I know you were talking earlier about Javonte. If you have Javonte and you don't know what his prognosis is yet, and yet we really haven't heard anything yet, do you just stash him, or do you consider do you keep him and see what he, how his comeback is going to be, so maybe his trade value or whatever increases, or how do you touch that situation? What's he worth? What's he worth now? In Dynasty, let's say Dynasty. What's he worth now in Dynasty compared to, should you hold on to him and just wait and see what's his potential value if he comes back and he's better than what we think?
I think it all depends on what the offer is that you're receiving, what your running back room looks like. Are you acquiring? Are you drafting? So, if I take it from one step at a time or one angle at a time, I'd say that if you own him, there's zero reason to trade him unless somebody comes to you and is showing dire interest because they're a big, huge Denver fan or Javonte fan or whatever. I think trying to cook up and stir up a trade on your own, no one's going to have interest. They're going to be like, well, what do you want for him? And then there's just not going to be an interest. They're not going to be an even type of swap. So holding him is really the only option, unless someone knocks on your door and you're like, this guy's showing his cards. He wants Javonte bad. And I don't mind trading him if I'm getting into like Jahmyr Gibbs or one of the, if I'm getting into the 1.2 or 1.3 pick. So would I trade him? So value wise, would I trade him for 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3? I would personally. But that's only because he's got a longer road back, it appears right now, than Hall, meaning that I don't know what his value is going to be in 2023. It could be J.K. Dobbins like. If we get an update that he's like ahead of schedule and we start hearing the same thing we're hearing about Breece Hall, then I might reassess that and say, give me the 1.1 and 1.2, but maybe I value him as the 1.3 equivalent. But I like to value players like that equivalent to rookie draft picks. I think it's one of the best ways to, like, when someone says what's his value, I think when you equate anybody to in a dynasty to a rookie draft pick, it gives you all you need to know in terms of what his value is. So 1.4 right now, or 1.3, 1.4 right now, borderline 1.2, 1.3 if we hear great news. But like, would I get rid of him for a 1.7 or 1.8? Absolutely not. Like, I still feel like he could be a top 5 running back. I don't want anybody to think I don't feel that way about him. I do. It's just, it comes down to waiting. Do I wait a whole year when I could go get a Charbonnet or a Jahmyr Gibbs or even a JSN, the wide receiver everybody absolutely loves? Jackson's going to be unbelievable. He's a really good wide receiver, better prospect than Jameson Williams in some ways. But like wide receiver wise, like if I was to trade Javonte in a dynasty, I'd want a St. Brown. I'd want a Garrett Wilson. I'd want somebody of that caliber if I felt good enough at running back. But in a redraft, I don't think I take him anywhere in the top 3 rounds yet. I don't think in Dynasty I take him anywhere in the top 3 rounds yet, but he would be borderline 3rd, 4th round pick in Dynasty, I think. Maybe 3rd rounder. Probably 3rd rounder, I would say. Yeah, I'd say Dynasty 3rd. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I'd have to be on the clock or something or see the picks and the players that are available. But I would say Dynasty near 3rd round pick, redraft not 3rd round pick. Whereas Breece Hall is top 12 overall.
Right.
For me, totally arguable. I could see somebody feeling differently about it.
Well, no, I did have somebody come to me with a trade thing, and Javonte, he's interested. That's not the only player he's interested in, but it was up there. But I don't know. To me, I mean, Javonte has a lot of value if he comes back and he's fully healthy, and we all know his talent there. But I don't know where to value him. I personally almost like to keep him and see, because if somebody's not going to value him the way that we all value him at, then he will increase in value if he comes back strong, and especially under Payton, a coach like Payton.
Yeah. Terry Roberts,
I don't know.
Bold take, D'Amico Ryans, Houston will be a top 5 D in 2 years, says Terry Roberts. I like D'Amico a lot. I mean, what he did with that Niner D was amazing. So I like the odds of that situation turning around. And again, from top to bottom, from GM down, the entire personnel, the staff, everybody's different than the Deshaun Watson debacle staff and GM and management. Like it was completely night and day. The situation really changed right in the middle of getting rid of Deshaun Watson, So a lot of people think that, this GM, this situation was very much tied to that. They walked in and cleaned it up. So I really like what's going on in Houston. They're going to turn things around very, very quickly. His name's Caserio, Nick Caserio as the GM. Very, very good GM. Very aggressive. No BS. Traded Deshaun Watson. Came in, traded Deshaun Watson away. Didn't play games anymore. Like hanging on to him, making him sit out the season. Like Nick Caserio wouldn't have dealt with that like that. He would have gotten rid of him the year prior, but he got rid of him right away. They made arguably one of the best trades in NFL history, right? I mean, the Deshaun Watson trade was phenomenal. And so, you know, they're doing great things. Great things. They're preparing, they're building. It's going to be great.
One more thing. And I know this is going to be, I pretty much, I know what your answer might be more likely, but what would you think of Jamal Williams for Derrick Henry trade straight up?
I'd rather have Derrick Henry by a mile. By a mile.
I think Henry's got here maybe. But okay.
Henry's got what? Henry's got what?
At least one more year left.
I think he's going to have a partial elite year is my prediction. But I was wrong last year. I could be wrong again, but he's 29 years old. Oh, it's so hard to imagine, bro. It's so hard. It was so hard to imagine 28. He did it, and I admit I was a year too early. I think there's very little shot he doesn't look good for a couple games, you know. So like if you draft him, like will I draft Derrick Henry and redraft? Absolutely, if he fell to the right spot. But then I would trade him. I'd trade him by double-digit weeks. But that's my opinion. I mean he could. There's a percentage odds, you know, game that we're playing every time we try and predict someone's demise. Like, and I know a lot of people get frustrated with that. Like, oh, how do you see him dropping off? Blah blah blah. Like Eckler, for example, he's 28. Henry did it at 28. Very few running backs can ever play at 28 years old at a high level, a level high enough to where when you're drafted in the top 5 for fantasy running backs, the volume is guaranteed to be much higher than like any other player. So it's not like you're an older player like McKinnon. He's 31. He's surviving because he's never had volume that Henry or these guys have been doing their entire career. So it's a bit different. There are outliers in that situation. But Henry to me, 10% chance that he can play at Henry's expectation level for even 10 games, more than 10 games. That would be if I had to throw an arbitrary number on it, and it's a guesswork game, I get it, but I would say 10% chance he can deliver all year long. Now, what are the odds he looks like Derrick Henry that we all love for the first month of the season? 80 to 90%. So that's a really good player to have right away. And then he's going to be playing at a high level, right? So how hard is it going to be to trade Derrick Henry in week 4? Probably not hard. Week 5, week 6. But would I try to not put myself in that position if there's a player I like better, like Bijan? I'm taking Bijan over Henry in redraft all day long. All day long.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking redraft here. I'm talking dynasty.
Dynasty, I just don't think Jamal has any value. I don't think Jamal Williams has any value, whereas Henry at least has now value. There's somebody in a dynasty that says, I want to win now, give me Henry. Whereas maybe Jamal ends up doing it again, but like I'm not banking on that. I'm not banking on that at all. He's a free agent, you know. They may retain him because he may not find a job at all. But
yeah.
So you have Henry and you're trying to trade him?
No, I don't have Henry.
Oh, you're trying to trade for him?
Well, I was given an offer. Basically, it was 3 players for 2 players, but I just if I were to entertain that trade, the only player I'm really interested in is you know me, Henry.
Yeah.
Because he might even be listening. I don't know. He probably is. But I mean, I've always been one. I always like to try to make fair trades too, and so, you know, I mean, basically, he wanted Jamal Williams and Javonte for Hollywood Brown. Who's the running back for Carolina? Freeman and Henry.
Foreman.
Foreman.
I mean, Javonte, mixing Javonte in there? No, I don't.
That's the problem. Is
Yeah.
I value Javonte a lot more than the players I'd be getting.
Yeah, I'm not trading Javonte. If I'm trading Henry, I love circling back to rookie picks. Like if I can trade Henry to somebody for the 1.2 or 1.1 and then give him my future, a future pick or something. That's something that I would love to do.
Yeah.
I'll sacrifice.
Because, I mean, I'm like,
go ahead.
I like Jamal Williams, but with in Dynasty, I figure, with Henry having maybe, this could be his last year, and Jamal Williams, I mean, he did have all the touchdowns last year. I mean, that almost seems more of a fair trade and take all the other players out of the trade and offer that, maybe that. But you're saying you don't even think Jamal's worth Henry.
I mean, could he be? Sure, but do a lot of things have to happen that I don't want to take the gamble on? I'd rather just have Henry. I feel like I could trade Henry for Garrett Wilson in a heartbeat. Or if the person that is Garrett Wilson loves him, I could trade him for Christian Watson. I could trade him for Charbonnet or Sean Tucker draft slots in a rookie draft. Like I feel like I could go in all those avenues. I could take my quarterback. Let's call my quarterback. I don't know. You could even take like a 7 or 8 overall quarterback and probably try and turn them into a top 4 or 5. Like those are things I would do. I'd try and get Kyle Pitts using Henry. Kyle Pitts is so undervalued right now, and I do believe he will be the number 1 tight end in fantasy football at some point. It just may not even be this year. I would trade Henry for Kyle Pitts and something.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not that situation for me. I mean, I don't have Henry. I got Javonte and I got Jamal, so those are the 2 players that kind of talking about right now. But all right, I just wondered.
All right, anything else, Ron? I'm probably gonna jump right now. I'll be back tonight though. So
that's I actually had a valid question instead of just talk. So, anyways, all right. We'll talk to you later, Smitty.
Appreciate you. Later.
All right, bye.
I'll be back tonight, guys. I'm live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Live whenever news breaks. Live midnight, most Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. So that will probably be tonight. I'll see you all tonight. Appreciate you all. I work for you. Let's go. And on that note, let's do a little Charbonnet. Let's pop open a little of the bubbly.
Get Charbonnet. Pop open a nice bottle of Charbonnet.
Yep. And let's give this one a little hit. Later. Appreciate you all. Danger dropping a last-second super chat. Go watch Moonman number 10, by the way. Danger says was offered Monty and the 1.8 for K9. Monty and the 1.8, not enough, bro. Kenneth Walker's top 5 overall player in Dynasty Fantasy Football. No way I'm doing that. We don't even know where Monty's going. Will he even be starting somewhere? Thinking about countering and asking for the 1.3 Monty for K9. That could work out. That could work out if, let's say, Jameer fell and it all did, but I wouldn't do it. I'd rather keep Walker, bro. It's too risky. I think you're getting a little antsy to get a trade done, Danger. You're forcing a trade. You're bored, right? You're bored. This is you're falling victim to boredom. You've got Walker, bro. You got Walker. You already have the 1.1. Why not have Walker and Bijan? Don't do it. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. I have Brady, Lance, Purdy. Already have the 1.1. Don't do it, bro. Take your W and run with it. Walker and Bijan, let's go. If you're getting the 1.2 and something else, bro, let's say someone offered you the 1.2 and 1.4 for Kenneth Walker. I might do that, like, or the 1.3. You get like JSN and Jahmyr Gibbs for Walker. Now we're talking. But the 1.3 and Monty, no. 1.3 and 1.4 potentially. Maybe we have that conversation, but no, not one pick that isn't number 1 overall, which you already have. Don't do it, Danger.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And, of course, Danger, you haven't been disapproved, but the trade has. I will see you all tonight. Later. I'm feeling a little Chipotle tonight. I'm feeling a little Chipotle. My Chipotle bowl will be on my Instagram. By the way, if those of you don't know, follow my Instagram. It's more of like a behind the scenes to my stories, and I do my stories on YouTube as well. And if you don't know how to get to my stories on YouTube, you just pull up the YouTube app. You go to my my main YouTube page, right? And you just click on my face, which is right here, the circle, and it's stories. They're story posts like, hey, what's going on? I'm going to get Chipotle. So make sure you check my stories, but I'm going to get Chipotle. We're having a night. We're having a day already. Let's have a night. I'm going to get Chipotle. It's going to be on my stories. I always show my food on my stories for whatever reason. Some people don't care. And you know what? I don't care that you don't care if you don't care, because I appreciate you. I know that was confusing. We'll go with the steak, I believe, Mitch. We'll go with the steak. All right, see you all tonight.
Got him.
If you stop sending me these terrible fantasy football trade offers now, that will be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will tell the commissioner on you.
Also, please get on over to the merch, thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch, or I'll drop the link right now if you guys want to buy any of this merch. We got the Breeze's Pieces shirts. We got everything going on over on the merch store. We got more. We're gonna have a lot of Charbonnet. Get Charbonnet shirts. We're gonna have Bijan stuff. I put that link in the whoa. I put that link in the live chat. I'm pinning it right now. Link is pinned in the live chat. Go get some. Enjoy, says Tim. Tim, appreciate you. All right, back to what was I doing?
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.